The Dow's rise isn't flashy, but it is there. The blue chip index was up for 8 straight sessions. Investors have been in a better mood, primarily because of trade relations with China and a report today that China will exempt some U.S. agricultural products from additional tariffs. That lifted shares of trade-sensitive names like Caterpillar and Boeing, and it put the Dow within striking distance of new highs. At the close, the Dow gained 37 points to 27,219. The Nasdaq fell 17, and the S&P 500 was down 2. All of the major indexes were higher for the third straight week. Bob Pisani takes a closer look at what's driving the market and why next week could be a decisive one for Wall Street.
Stocks made a modest run at record highs, but fell short on this Friday the 13th. The Dow is still riding an impressive 8-day win streak. All three major averages up for a third week in a row. 4 big drivers behind this rally: better U.S.-China trade headlines, lower geopolitical tensions, expectations of more rate cuts from global central banks, and a strong U.S. consumer. August retail sales beat estimates and the consumer sentiment rose more than expected. It's clear the U.S. consumer is the key bright spot in the global economy. That's why you saw economically sensitive cyclical sectors like banks and transports all leading the charts this week and up again today. Big moves in the bond market, by the way. The U.S. 10-year Treasury yield seeing its biggest weekly surge since 2016. That move lifted all the regional banks like Comerica and SunTrust all up 7 to 10% each. Bond yields bottomed last Wednesday. No surprise, that was the bottom for the stock market. But investors are treading with caution ahead of the Federal Reserve meeting next week because they're worried the stronger data might make the Fed less inclined to keep cutting rates. So right now the markets are pricing in roughly 90% chance of a quarter-point rate cut, about 10% odds of the Fed standing pat. There's no shortage of other potential market movers next week. Earnings from FedEx, General Mills, Darden, along with data on industrial production and on housing. For Nightly Business Report, I'm Bob Pisani at the New York Stock Exchange.